Well, that didn't go well.
Still recovering. It's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Let's go.
Here's what happens occasionally to me, quite rarely, but sometimes when I eat too much soy and soy sauce type products, I get real sniffly and like my.
Are you
throat
sure it's
kinda
not the
hurts.
wasabi that does that?
No, that's never been a problem with wasabi. Okay. Yeah, it's like a very mild allergy that doesn't come up very often, but I guess it did today. Anyway, let's talk about this now, which is the fact that there's a whole uproar about how Riot treated League of Legends and the patching of that game.
And their owners and teams.
Right, just before, so the game was patched like just before the playoffs and whatever, and it changed it considerably.
Yeah, drastically changed.
Yeah, in a way that like the players needed to put in a ton more work. They already put in a ridiculous amount of work. Like, that's their job. They're doing 8 to 10 hours, some 12 hours a day of just playing and training and whatever. So any changes have like a drastic impact on them because they have to put in all those hours again and refigure things anyway. That was not a nice move, and there was a interview with Reginald, guy who owns one of the big teams, TSM, about it, and he was unhappy about it. Understandably so, and then dude from Riot,
the CEO,
Mark Merrill, said that he sort of had a retort a little bit that was like, more or less that they should figure it out, they should adapt.
It's very snarky.
I saw. Oh,
Yeah,
that's what I saw
wasn't
someone
that well done.
tweet about that. I wasn't sure what the context of it was. Okay,
even like the first line of it was like, I like Reggie and he's a cool guy, but like if he wants League of Legends, or if he wants his players to be paid well, maybe he should just step up and do it.
Right.
And it's like a very which is crazy because TSM pays the most out of like any organization by far. Like they have stock options for their players, and they build. He hires like teams that build their YouTube accounts for them, so that they have like a retirement plan basically.
Right.
So when like they're not playing anymore, they have that, and they pay more than any other organization.
Yeah.
He is
We're in the wrong community.
he's a super valuable owner. So for him to do that is crazy.
Zero is on TSM, right?
Yeah. So think about like what he does as a player.
is on TSM.
It's crazy.
Well, so in fact, another part of this was that Mark and I guess some other people didn't like the fact that TSM also is involved in non-League of Legends scenes, including Smash, but also other stuff. Saying that he shouldn't be investing money in that stuff, he should just be investing it in the team itself, in the League of Legends team itself. If he wants the players to be paid well, spend your money doing that rather than spending your money on other teams.
What he even said was, if you're worried about your players not making enough money, don't spend it on your other ventures, which are all failing, which is what he said. Like, he's like, don't spend it on all these other ventures that are making you money when you're getting money from League of Legends and spending it on other stuff. That's a real jerk thing to say.
Yeah, it's
especially if you're the
definitely a jerk
president of a company.
It's definitely a jerk thing to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that, there was yet another round of reactions from Reggie and from a bunch of other people. Monty, for example, former team owner. Other team owners, like other people who are sort of involved with it, and everybody's mad about it. So clearly, in my view, Riot screwed up by patching when they did, and not really caring about how it affects, or even in fact, sort of caring about how it impacts, in such that they wanted the game to appear different, like to be more sort of watchable during those big games.
Oh, is that why they did it at that
wasn't
time?
the whole thing,
okay,
but
okay.
Part of what Trinamir, or Mark Merrill, the owner of the company, said was like, yeah, we like that what the patch has done because we feel like people are playing more traditional lanes and like it's more exciting. It's like, so they didn't do it because like they think the balance is particularly good, but because like one thing people were doing in League of Legends, like a standard League of Legends game looks like X, but pro players are doing something slightly different. You right there? They're doing something slightly different, right? And Riot didn't like it because when you tune into LCS, they wanted to look just like solo queue. They wanted to look the same.
What was it? Lane switching.
It was
right?
lane swapping. Yeah.
Swapping.
So they didn't like that lane swapping was going on because they're like, well, when you play normal League of Legends, it doesn't look like this. So they're like, we want it to look more like traditional League of Legends so that people aren't mad about it.
It's so funny because I just was talking about this on stream when I was streaming Street Fighter just this last Thursday. I was like, the beautiful thing about something like fighting games, and sorry, I'm going off from the fighting game perspective again, is that a lot of times the people who make the game don't get to decide what the game looks like or how the game works. Because someone was basically saying they hate the jump back, they hate the shimmy throw mechanic, that mix-up game. And I was like, they didn't put it in there. It's just that's how the game optimally came out, and that's what.
Yeah, people optimize the way to beat throw technique.
Right, and so for me, it's not even just fighting games. I just think video games in general are great because usually the people who made it do not, like, they didn't expect the way that people end up playing it. You know what I mean? And that's like one of my favorite things about it. So I don't know. It's weird to try to force people to play it a certain way.
Well, that is something that they do, and that I don't know. That's part of why I wanted to talk about this for this kind of a show, where obviously the focus is fighting games.
Right.
Look, Riot is probably making a fighting game. Okay, they hired people who were making Rising Thunder.
Yeah.
They're probably not working on like some new MOBA.
Yeah. I would be very surprised.
That'd be weird. It's probably a fighting game. So, talking about Riot and the fighting game community, to my mind, is not like very hypothetical at all. It's like how is Riot gonna deal with its fighting game when it has a fighting game? And it may be like this. I don't know. So I sort of just wanted to get your thoughts on how you would feel if you were a player, or if you were a team owner, or if you were even a commentator, or whatever else your role is, and this kind of thing happened, say, just before the EVO, right?
Right. I mean, look.
Which is what Worlds is, right?
Right.
It's like right before playoffs, there's this drastic change. And Riot, or like, you have to think League of Legends, like, these teams are locked into their roster.
Yep.
So they can't even change anything. They're just like, well, I hope my roster turns out to be good at this new thing that nobody knows what the game is going to be played like. Right. And, like, it just is what it is.
Look, it's not very often on this show recently that we talk about things that Capcom is doing right. But I mean, the fact that they actually are not patching the game until like after Capcom Pro Tour is actually something that I think is amazing.
Yeah.
And even with something like let's say they were like, we're going to address the 8-frame, input delay, right? I still would rather have them fix that after Capcom Pro Tour.
Oh, yeah,
because the game has already too much been played this way. Let's not change it, and if Season 2 comes out and it's like, look, we got rid of that input lag, we fixed it, and here's a bunch of other cool new mechanics and systems, you got more than one V-trigger now, or whatever, right? Like, that's perfect. I want to keep it that way. Give that January, February time period for people to adjust to the new game, and then March the season starts up again.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, right? Because December is Capcom Cup, and then they release this new, thing, right, or whatever. They release this big balance patch, and then people have 3 months to learn it, play on it for a while, and then the CPT tour starts up again, and theoretically you don't change the game again until next Capcom Cup.
Well,
what you would expect.
What if they did? I mean, that would be. Well, I want to know what you think of it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like just to backtrack just a pinch, the fact that this is happening in a game that's not a fighting game kind of plays to the point. I've said this maybe last week or a week before. The FGC has been around long enough where even though it was just recently, a la, Mortal Kombat or any patch that changes the way the game is played, Killer Instinct, for instance, we know how this can affect. If they came to you and said, hey Dave, I think we're going to make some crazy changes coming up before the playoffs, how do you think that's going to go? You're going to be like, well, I can tell you from personal experience, I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah. And you can be like, well, why? It's like, well, there's these 5 instances in which, and they're going to be like, oh, damn, that's probably the right thing to do is not change it. That's what I mean. As a community, we've already crossed this bridge.
Yeah. Even to think about, NRS has had a pretty bad track record, right? With, Tanya.
Definitely.
There was, that. So they changed the game before Combo Breaker last year. It was one of their first big patches. But the patch didn't go out on Xbox until the day before Combo Breaker. Yep. So if you're flying into play, you have no idea there's new changes, right? Stuff like that. Yeah. Also, you have to think Killer Instinct. One of the things KI does is they, heading into EVO, 3 months before EVO, there's the balance changes are very small. They purposely stopped doing big changes so that the game is about the same it's going to be at EVO. But still at EVO, Gargos came out and was allowed.
Well, don't forget.
And he was this new character that people didn't know how to fight super well, and he ended up being picked in EVO Finals and won. So there's certainly something to be said about new changes or new characters being a big impact.
Because remember, Ibuki and Balrog were also
allowed,
changes, right?
Which they didn't happen to be a problem at EVO in large scale, right? But in KI, a game where it's very the system is how you play the characters. If you can pick something up quick and just all right, I know how to do the combos already because it's system mechanic, you hop in there, right? So even if KI is purposely not trying to change balance too much so that EVO is what it should be, there's still stuff, and not only that, but KI announced like, all right, we're gonna do this big balance patch soon.
So Blink Templar in the post, I guess he linked up a giant response
That
from
Reginald made. Yeah.
Is this one that you read already?
Yeah, very much worth reading.
It's very good.
It's really interesting, even if you don't much care about Riot or League of Legends or whatever. It's just like an interesting.
Because it starts
response.
like there's a belief that Riot team owners
I can
make
send you
a
the
lot
links if you want.
that makes a lot of money off LCS, but that's not the truth.
Yeah, they don't. I can tell you, as somebody who has represented teams in League of Legends and LCS, they really don't make that much money, folks.
Yeah,
they really don't.
One of the things,
like operating budgets can be like 6 figures, some are 7 figures, but that's not profit. Okay, those are operating budgets.
Right.
And those are super different things.
one of the things that was like obviously the owner said was that he was taking all his League of Legends money that he was making in this game and dumping it into other esports, but he was saying like, I make so little money from League that I had to go into other esports to make money. Like I had to go and get players in like CS:GO and other games just to make enough revenue because League is not making me any money. Like it's not like he purposely wanted to like go into other games to try to, you know.
So at this point,
he's a pro player for 5 years. Yeah. Like obviously he likes League of Legends.
Like that paints a really telling picture. In all honesty, if you think about how that, I mean, especially considering the thing that we were speaking about, wages when it comes to casters, players, whatnot, et cetera, et cetera.
Did you see Monty's video about that?
The recent boom in unsigned players and you know what I mean?
Oh,
like it's all kind of goes.
It's not a good picture. Yeah, it's not. So when they get involved in fighting games, it's going to be a lot of that baggage is still going to be there. I can't imagine that that's going to go away. I don't know when that game will come out or whatever, but I can't imagine that stuff's going to change because Riot has been like that for the last couple of years pretty solidly.
Yeah.
Making kind of unpredictable decisions when it comes to everybody else other than them. So I expect that their fighting game stuff is going to be similar. The thing that we have in the FGC is that it's the fighting game community, it's not the League of Legends community. Right. So like people don't talk about like the MOBA community. That doesn't mean anything. There's no maybe people play the games, but there's no community. There's the Dota scene, the League scene, and whatever. And in fighting games, it's not going to be like that. They're not going to take over to such a degree that we will stop playing Guilty Gear or whatever else. Like it's just not going to be an issue like that. So if we all hate how it's going, then we have those other games that we can stick with.
It's not like you guys or us can only commentate Street Fighter.
But what if they try to do that?
Yeah, right.
That's
so
a good
that's what I was
question,
just gonna say. Yeah. So what if they require that commentators only do their fighting game, or that players only play their fighting game?
Didn't Riot at one point in time say that their players could only stream League, and if they streamed it,
could not stream competitors? They
Yeah. Okay, they did pull that back.
But it was like while you were waiting in queue for a match, you weren't allowed to stream like any of their competitors' games, which they ended up changing because everybody was like, "You guys are the worst."
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like it'd be weird if any company could do it. They'd probably have to be Capcom, right? Because they're the biggest.
I guess.
I'd assume,
But even still, if Capcom, I mean, look, they've already lost a lot of their
good faith.
Good faith. Yeah, that's goodwill, I guess is the term. And if they continue to, if they were to do this kind of thing that Riot has been doing, I really think that would continue to hurt them more.
Yeah.
I don't know about sales or whatever else. I don't know about the casual side, but when it comes to the tournament side, I really think that would have an impact.
I mean, I feel like that goes without saying. It would definitely have a negative impact, considering the fact that they have so much money invested. They have an entire company, Sony, backing them with the intention of this being a successful venture. Like, that wouldn't make any sense for them to say that the fighting game community as a whole did not impact their business decision. It doesn't make sense. I mean, look at Warner Brothers. Look how much money they're putting into Mortal Kombat. Like, that's not money you can just pull out of your pocket and be like, here. They get that back with sales, with the people that are interested in that game and viewership. I mean, they just had a show on like CW or something like that. So all of this definitely ties back into each other. It just depends which one is more lucrative for the company and gives it proper balance with the people that's going to support it. It's all about that supply and demand, and if it's working to the way it's supposed to, like, is Street Fighter working the way it's supposed to for the community and the company? It's very debatable. Right. Is Mortal Kombat working the way it's supposed to for the community and the company? I think it is. What's going to happen now, that means other companies are going to do the same thing. Look at Tekken 7. They now have their own pro tour. dedicated only to that game. Thing is, they're going a different route. Their game is coming out on multiple systems: Steam, PC, Xbox One, and PS4. How is that going to work? Who knows? Will it help the community? Will it hurt the community? Will it hurt the company? Will it help the company? Like, those are the questions that haven't been asked yet, and they're constantly in toggle. That's why, like, I really like to hear David talk about stuff like this. Because he's voiced several times. He's like, look, man, we don't want it to be League of Fighting Game Community. You don't want that. And
I mean, a lot of people
why.
have asked us, like, why? Because we've said this many times. We don't want a governing body in the fighting game community. Everyone's like, why wouldn't you want a governing body? Like, then you could make these, and this is the exact reason why. So.
Too much control. It's one of the things that the best part about the fighting game community, and like the things that all the different companies are doing, is not trying to absorb it. They're instead saying, all right, well, if we're gonna put money into this, we'll give it to the grassroots events. Right, so like each event will be like a qualifier for our big thing, and we'll give them money, and it's one of those things, right? And like, you know, you have someone like Tasty Steve who can commentate on the Tekken Tour and also commentate on CPT, and he can do both, right? So like both of those things are fine because like he's just a fighting game commentator, and it's because of that grassroots event. So one event, Steve could be there as a Tekken commentator. The next event, maybe there's like a KOF thing, something, I don't know. He could be like the KOF guy commentator, and then CPT, and then it's these companies putting into our events instead of the reverse.
It's like the KI World Cup letting me go there and do commentary there, right? Like, it's I'm not exclusively stuck on Street Fighter.
It's the same way with, so Capcom pays us to do, like, Capcom CPT events, but even at those events, we also commentate other things. Like the same thing.
Like CEO, I did Killer Instinct, and I did MK, and you did
MK,
and you did Mystery Game.
Dude, we're flown out by Capcom.
Like,
we're actually flown out by Capcom to do commentary for the CPT, and then when we're not doing that, we do commentary for other games, you know, and they don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
they don't
like CEO is exactly like that, right?
Yeah, and in a weird way, again, it's like
it's
like how we described Evo before, right? Like, if there was a governing body, yes, you could definitely sit there and say, okay, this TO like screwed over all these other games, but you know, the way that Evo worked out is like all the groups got kind of mad, right?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people had problems, but that's because, you know, you have to give or take on all the different communities, and if you had one governing body that favored one particular game, that would be a problem, right?
And it's like I said, this once again, this all goes back into each other. I go back to the Smash conversation. There's a lot of instances in which, and this is my personal belief, that if you want to be inclusive, that doesn't mean you have to bend to every will of said game coming into community, especially considering that it's supposed to be inclusive. We're not saying you're not allowed or anything like that. It's just the fact that you can't come into something and say, hey, we will be the main voice of this, and this is how it's going to work. I feel like it kind of throws out the whole point of us being there together. There's no community aspect when only one gets control of everything. It doesn't make sense.
That's the only thing I'd be worried about, is when companies are doing these tour type things, is if the commentators were only allowed to do that one game or something, right?
So, Pokken,
Pokken's kind of like that.
Well, sort of. Like, people who commentate Pokken can commentate other stuff. I did it at Evo, for example. But they tightly regulate their tour, and you know, for example, at CEO, they did not want to show certain things on the stream that were not licensed, that they didn't have the license to show. That makes total legal sense, but it's not how we tend to do things in the FGC, so it's like, kind of, it seems weird. They tightly control a lot of things. Their tournaments have been strange so far. Like, for example, people couldn't spectate at the championships, like, all of a sudden at the last minute. So they're trying to run their thing in a very particular Pokemon Company kind of way. And
not even a Nintendo kind of way.
No, that's a different company.
It's very separate.
Yeah, it is. And it's not going well.
So,
as somebody who likes Pokken the game a lot, I just don't think that's going well.
Info asks the question, if Riot did make League of Fighters and came to the FGC, saying that player X and commentator Y could only play or commentate LOF, but paid a lot of money, do you think they would change the culture, or do you think the FGC would revolt?
Yeah, that would be probably a person-by-person basis.
Yeah, that would definitely be a person-by-person
For me, I've always said that I don't want commentary to be my career. I'm just going to keep being a lawyer. So if there's ever some instance like that where some company, if it was going to have to be my full-time job, I'm not going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right,
So I'm
right.
just going to keep doing other stuff. But I imagine that for you guys and for probably other people, it's going to be a different thing. People who want it to be their career.
Right.
Right. So if Riot comes in and it's like, we will pay you, you guys will be Riot employees, and you have like a full salary, and your full-time job is to be League of Fighters commentator. That's like a really weird place to be. That's a very tough thing to say yes or no to.
Yeah.
Because you have
It
to look
is.
at it like, as a freelancer, can I make X amount of money, and is it worth it to me to freelance and do fighting game events? And we also do other stuff that's not fighting game stuff, right? But like, is it worth it to me to stay as a freelancer and get to do what I enjoy? Or do I go to League of Fighters, which might be something that we think is awesome, and we really like the game.
Or it
but,
might be something that we don't like
yeah,
and
Also
don't
could
want
be.
to continue to do.
right. That's like unlikely. But let's say like we do like League of Fighters.
Okay.
It's awesome. And Riot offers you full, like, yep, you're an employee, you make $1 bajillion,
401k.
make $1
Yeah.
bajillion, and you get to do this, and you're commentating the League of Fighters LCS every week, the LFCS, and it's great. It's like, what do you do? If you're like a Justin Wong and you're like, no, I'm going to say no, then other American players would be like, wait a minute, Justin Wong's not in this? I might be able to win this. I'll stop playing everything else and go try to win this League of Fighters money and be in it. Like, it's like, it would be a very weird ecosystem that they would create.
Yeah.
Definitely weird.
It would be very hard thing to deal with in the FGC.
It's true that League of Legends fighting game that League of Legends commentators make less than other commentators do in some other games, but that amount, let me tell you, is an order of magnitude better than what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
than fighting game commentators.
They're like, you guys want 2 shiny nickels, and you'll do 20 hours of commentary this
You
weekend.
said shiny. You get 2 wood nickels, right?
And they're like, and we want you to do 20 hours of commentary. We're like, but we want real money. And they're like,
You need to eat. Yeah, get over
get out of
that.
here. We make do.
We got plenty of hot pockets in Tic Tac.
Just
you want more hot pockets? What about Tic Tac?
I can't wait to go to PAX next weekend. Paying the bills.
I
Oh, man.
Anyway,
You'll see Tasty Steve and I at the HyperX booth at PAX.
come holler at your boy.
Bills paid.
Oh, man.
That's
Well,
a bummer.
Anyway, I really hope there's not going to be BS patches like that. Even as somebody who has been playing mostly Zangief, I don't want any buffs to that character or changes at all until after Capcom Cup.
Yeah.
Please leave us alone.
Yeah.
But when Riot gets into it, I hope that they take that kind of mindset, and I don't at all expect that they will.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it like this, and this is the last thing I would say about it. What's happening in the fighting game community
Should I
right
start a
now?
new timer? Or I
Wow,
haven't
you're
done
wrong.
timers. Okay.
So, what's happening in the fighting game community right now? If you look at a bunch of the figureheads we have in place that are pseudo kind of governing, gives us a lot, like Combo Fiend, in working with Capcom, having a very influential voice with the game, that benefits us as part of the community because we can count on that level of consistency. When it comes to advertising or any kind of broadcast, you look at people like Gutex and Mike Ross. You got Twitch, and then you still have the outside part,
Right.
which is cross counter. You look at the shirts that these guys wear, that anybody wears.
Yeah.
You have people like Broken Tier and Split Frame and all these other companies. Stuff like that is, for the most part, ushered in by people that are in the fighting game community. There's really no outside source that gives you the things that you wear or do most of the time, but because they're in the community.
Yeah.
Now, if we give this to somebody else, not saying I'm for or against, but you have to remember what goes out the window with that. You have to remember that there's a lot of legality tied up in the fact that we might not be able to be as boisterous, have much of a say opinion-wise. Who
I mean,
knows?
look,
If League of
That's-
Fighters was out, they would have already kicked in this door and came and
Yeah,
put this
I
all
know.
out of here.
I mean,
and
look, I'm just.
Never, we'd be in the
You're League of
gulag.
Fighters property now.
It's
The
a
Riot
They like
gulag.
have like they have
Riot
like
gulags, you'd never see us again. I'd be like chained to a wall, and I'd be like, I didn't mean it.
It's the reason why I wanted the community in the first place to grow internally, right? Because then all the stuff is coming from us. Like the fighting game
Yeah.
community is building ourselves up.
Yeah,
you know?
we have been doing that.
Yeah, and
I
we're
mean,
And that was the cool part about ESPN and Evo, right? Is that the ESPN broadcast was done by fighting game people.
Yeah,
with fighting game people commentating it and all involved in it and stuff.
Yeah,
It's not like it was done by like some outside, and it was not like
yeah. I mean,
we had
literally.
John Madden and someone else
I
doing.
mean,
But not even
commentary.
just that, but literally the guys doing the production.
Yeah, the
Like,
broadcast.
just
Yeah.
Seglia and those guys.
Yeah, the
right?
the broadcast was all
those
done
are
in
all
house.
fighting game people. There's nobody pushing us to be better. I mean, except for just normal regular ho hums that might not like some of the stuff a particular community says about another community or whatever the case may be. It's just the fact that we very much so kind of have our own ecosystem right now. That's just the way it's working. We have people buying into our ecosystem because it's so self-sustaining. Like, I'm just saying, we have companies changing their game because some guy on Twitter got butthurt about something. I'm just saying, that says a lot. That says a lot to me. So,
if David and I were, if Capcom was like Riot, the stuff that David and I have said about Street Fighter V on this stream would probably have gotten us like banned for life.
Well, it's a good thing they were buying you guys off when you guys were talking about the A-frames of lag. And I hadn't received the contract yet. But A-frames is fine. I got the contract now, money in the bank. It's all cool.
Okay. So now A-frames is good for you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a miscommunication. They hadn't paid me yet. It's fine. It got lost in the mail. There's a lot of Steven Lyons around. It's cool.
Riot has fighting game people. I mean, there are all the people working on there are fighting game people.
There's lots.
The game itself, and it's the same with the game League of Legends. I have a lot of respect for the people who make that game. The original code was not good, but then after that, a lot of the stuff that they've done has been great. And I have a lot of friends who work there, and they do good stuff on the game design and on the making of all the graphics and whatnot and visual stuff. All that is thumbs up. It's the esports side. It's the esports side where the problems are, and that's what I would worry about with the League of Fighters too.
It would be a sick game.
Could
Characters
cool.
would be cool.
Yeah.
Who knows? We don't know.
They would
Well,
esports it up,
but
and
it could be cool. But yeah, I just worry about how their esports side would deal with it.
Yep.
Anyway.
I'm gonna make
Same
it a
thing.
tie.
All right. Well, you guys want to take a break? When we
Sure.
come back, we'll just go through the results and games and events and community and all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Be right back, guys. Hope people have found that the new air conditioner hasn't been too loud or anything like that.
Splatoon got picked up by ESL.
Yeah.
No, I heard that they were doing something with Nintendo. I hadn't heard
They're
specifically
expanding
that.
their European esports presence. So they actually partnered up to expand said presence.
That's so funny. Just earlier today, I was thinking, I haven't heard anything about Splatoon in forever. And so, as I was looking to watch KOF 14 on Twitch, so I was like sorting by game. And I guess it's not on there.
I don't think so. I don't
Because
know.
I scrolled forever and I couldn't find it. And I ended up scrolling all the way down to where Splatoon was, and like 30 people were watching.
Oh no,
Dang.
dude! I mean, cause seriously,
Anyway, that's cool though.
I've always
Fun
said
game.
that I would only commentate fighting games. It's kind of where I want to stick for. But I'll do Splatoon. I would commentate Splatoon.
Oh, that's the one. Huh?
That's the one, because I love that game, dude. That game is so good.
You should really play Overwatch, man.
I want to, but
Overwatch
look,
is the
What?
Splatoon.
Once I get
Overwatch commentary. Did you have me doing Overwatch commentary this weekend?
I think
Future.
I did.
No.
Dude, I did the most esports play-by-play I've ever done in my life. Like, I actually finished, and I was like, that sounded like a real FPS commentator. It's like, that was crazy. I don't know how I did it.
I forgot what I was doing. I was watching a tech video on League of Legends. I mean, sorry, not League of Legends, on Overwatch. I think I was just watching it on my phone,
Yeah.
and I got a little sick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but remember when you came over to my place and you played a little bit?
I know, and
It
I
wasn't
played it,
such
and
a
I was
problem.
like, it's not so bad. Then I started driving home. I don't think I told you that.
Oh, no.
Like, when I was
You
in the
started
car, I was
sobbing?
driving home, I was like, I feel so weird, and driving feels so bizarre right now.
no.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
That sucks.
So, I don't know. I wish I could play it. Like, if they had a 3D... Like, if they had the third-person perspective mode in that game, I might be able to do
That's
that.
how I used to feel. I used to feel like I couldn't play FPS games. Like, and I can honestly say, like, this is the list of the FPS games that I played seriously enough to say that I'm going to play them.
Okay.
Unreal Tournament 2004,
Okay.
CS2, Resistance, Fall of
Oh, the
Man,
PS3.
PlayStation
Yeah,
3,
I remember that.
and Team Fortress. I don't know if I said that or not.
I had
Team
like
Fortress 2.
I had like
That's it.
300
And
hours.
I want to play Overwatch. And
Overwatch
that's
is
it.
sick.
You should.
You should play Genji,
It's
dude.
like, it's like
That's who I'm
TF3,
going to
man.
do. No,
Genji
it's
is your
already
dude.
done.
Yeah, of course.
I'm
you play
definitely
Genji.
going to play Genji.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
But I just got to get a PC that can, you know, not explode, you know.
Yeah.
So.
All right, man.
Are the commercials
my
done by any
circles, by the
chance?
way.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
working out.
so great.
Sick.
Ugh.
I just
It's
wanna.
the greatest. Did you see our alligator video? Did you guys
I
see
didn't
that?
watch it. I didn't watch it.
It's pure
Wow.
gold.
Wow.
I know where
we
your
should
guys'
talk-
is.
We should talk about this.
The alligators.
Yeah.
and
Oh, wait,
everything.
hang on a second. Hang on a second. Before you guys do,
Yeah.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Liquid Gold for resubscribing. He's been a subscriber for over a year now.
Good
So
shit.
thanks to him.
14 months.
Thanks,
That's a long
down,
time.
thanks to him, and then also want to give a shout out to Pahil Punch. Now for our half a year. He says shout outs to the best stream on Twitch.
Wow. Okay.
Wow,
Hey,
thank you. All
let's
right.
go.
Yeah. Good work.
Yep, thank you guys very much for the subscriptions.
We could take an alligator.
You could take an alligator? What does that mean?
All right.
You guys planned out how you guys would tackle an
You
alligator,
want to
right?
go back to the thing now?
So,
What, just actually go back to...
Yeah,
We'll tell the alligator story.
Alright, hang on a second. Let me kill the volume and everything.